Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Built by Ben. It's been a while, I'm just getting back into it now. Had a very busy month this month, but straight back into it with the drinks cabinet install day. So thanks for tuning in again, thanks for all your support again. Subscriber count is still going through the roof, which I don't understand. It's bizarre to me, but it's great as well. So yeah, we'll start off with this. I'll try and get as much detail in as I can for you. We've bolted together screwed together the two base units that you've seen me build in the previous episodes. And the two little bits of the wall you can see missing behind there is because the whole point of this drinks unit was to put a glass worktop on this with LEDs shining through from the back. And those two channels are so that we can get some sockets down into them base units without breaking the line of the LED. So the actual twin and earth cable there has got to go behind the LED profile and down into the base cabinets. So that's what they're doing now. You can see here we've just stacked the laser up to the ideal height where we want the bottom of the worktop to finish. And all I do there is set the green laser line just above where I want all the units to finish. And then you'll see me running my fingers over the top like that. You run your fingers over the top and make sure that your fingertips are lit up green, and that's basically telling you that we're bang on level. And once that's right on your fingertips all the way over the top, you know you're there. And there are some little breaks in that laser line where you get the corners of the actual structure, which is a bit annoying, but you can just keep turning that around. And then because it's on them adjustable kitchen legs, you can just adjust it how you want until that is on the right line. But that's such a good way. On this one, as you saw in the when I built it, I actually reduced the height of those kitchen legs. I think that's the best way of doing it, because I don't really like going much bigger than like 120mm plinth, but those legs are set up for like 180, I think, for like normal kitchens. But when you're doing sort of cabinetry work like this, I prefer to have a bit of a smaller plinth. I've never been too keen on a plinth unless you're putting lights in it or something like that. But we're just going behind there with some space savers, and then the most important bit, you've got to have your cup of tea, ain't you? Anyway, back to work. You can see here, just getting a little bit chunk of this wall out. Probably could have done this a lot neater before I actually put the unit in, but I didn't know I'd need this little chunk out before I stuck all the units in. So that's why you can see that. The reason for this, as I'll show you in a minute, is just because when you put Philips Hue lights in, they've got quite a big connector on the end of the light strip. It's not very flexible, which is quite annoying. The day that Philips Hue start making their stuff, a bit more nimble, would be a good day. Also, you can't hardwire them, so you need to find somewhere to get a plug installed as well that's close to your light strip, so that you can track the wires up. But as you can see there, that sort of connector on the end is now sitting into the wall, and then that wire can freely go down below the glass and into that bottom unit where it will be plugged in. So you can see here we've got that LED profile, that black one. We're just getting some double-sided tape on the back of that. I use like quite a spongy one. It's really good. It's high stick as well. It's really really sticky gear. You can't get it off once you stuck it on. But it's also got the sort of paper on the back of it, so that you're not going to get yourself in a muddle. So we're just applying that double-sided tape to the back of the LED profile, ready to stick to that back wall. And like I said earlier, that will then shine all the way through the glass, and you'll see later on in this video that the front of the glass, we left it's called a grey edge, which is basically unpolished. So when you cut glass, it's almost like a bit of wood being rough sawn, and then instead of planing it, you just leave it. And to polish the edge of glass is like the same process as you planing a bit of wood. It just, you know, buffs it right up, makes it all smooth. So we left that front edge grey, and the whole purpose of that was so that the LED light come all the way through the glass but then caught that edge. So we just have a little test of the lights there and get it on. Always make sure they work before I bury them too much. And then we just clip the little diffuser on there. I get most of my LED profiles from Arc LED, I believe they're called. ARC LED online. Problem with anything over a metre is it always comes with a bit of a hefty delivery charge, but you just got to price it in the job really, you can't get over it. And there's the Philips Hue remote that we used on this job. So at this point we're just going to stack these tower units in, although because the glass wasn't obviously templated for already yet, I needed to get them base units in before I templated. I didn't catch the templating on camera, but it's basically like you do any template, just scribe it into the walls, make sure you've got a good fit, and then you send that off to the glass factory and they make it exactly to your template for you, so it's not too hard to understand. But the purpose for trying all of these in was so that I can get all of the outlets cut into the back of them before the glass is down. I didn't really want to do any work above the glass. Glass frightens the hell out of me, even though I used to be a glazer. I just know how easy it scratches, especially glass that's back painted. The worktop that we're having on here is black back painted, so if you get any tiny scratches on it, the light just shows it up straight away, and what you don't want is a customer seeing a nice big scratch on it when it's brand new, because you end up replacing the thing. So we get them outlets cut. If you do need to know them outlets, if you're ever cutting outlets into something for electrical sockets to go in, you need a 75mm by 75mm hole for your singles, and you need 135mm by 75mm for your double sockets. They're good sizes to remember. And then we're just trying in the wine rack here and marking around that little alcove with another line, because we're sticking another set of LEDs inside there to light up your sort of drink making area. And once we've got them back off, we just mark these tracks onto the bottom of the wine rack, and eventually there'll be a bit of mirror in the back there as well, so it looks really, you know, pucker when it's sorted, when it's all finished. The old doggo there in the back. So we just cut these things to size. Didn't have to be too specific on these because the ends were all hidden anyway. You can get special blades for your chop saw to cut this LED profile, but if I'm only doing a few and it doesn't matter what the edges look like too much, then I don't worry too much. Just get the hacksaw and just be careful with it. One thing you also want to do is clear up your filings from that double quick. Just get your hoover straight on them. Don't want to be leaving these filings around because they're horrible things if you get them in your fingers. If someone treads on them. I know there's a dog around as well, so you don't want it all in the paws of the dog, so here you just really got to be careful with that stuff. It's vicious. You see here we're just doing a double take on some of these just to widen them up, ready for the extra wide profile. If you do use Philips Hue, it's a good note to remember that they just don't fit in most profiles, so you have to get a special wide and deep one for the LED ribbon. Now I'm making a bit of meal of this, but that was bloody heavy. Probably a good sort of 40 to 50 kilograms. And obviously you've got to be bloody careful with it as well. So the shape of that bit of glass was actually smaller at the front than it was at the back, which is why I did that sort of dodgy lift, getting one end up in the air. just so that I could put it in. If it was nice and square, I could have just almost slid it in from the front, but it just didn't work like that on this one. It's always a bit of a relief getting the glass in and seeing it all fit. And then we can just see we're pushing up against that LED at the back there. And then we test them lights. And you can just see what I learned on this project is that it picks up the iron in the glass. There's iron that gets that is in the makeup of glass, and it gives it that green tint. And then we're just using the Alexa there to change the colour. It's all voice activated with Philips Hue. You can link them up to Alexa and you can change the colour, you can turn them on and off. You can set different modes for the room. You can ask it all sorts of different things and it will change the lights to suit. So you can see here what we've done is we've just hung all the units back on top now that the glass is fitted. And I'll just show you this with these tail units as well. What I did was I hung them on the hooks so that all of the weight is just off of the glass. I didn't want any weight sitting down on the glass, or if there is, it's got to be very minimum. Because again, I just don't trust glass, but as a good little tip, if you are doing a glass worktop one, just keep all the weight off of it with your wall hooks. Just lift it off a touch. By the time that's all sealed around with a nice bit of mastic, a bit of black mastic, you won't even be able to, see that gap. So now getting all of the fillet pieces on. I've showed these in some previous videos, so I won't do that again. Thinking of doing a dedicated scribing video soon because people seem to like them. They like to see how different people do them. But you can see there, I've done a nice neat job of this one. I've got all of the scribe pieces in. And the last job to do there on the actual cabinet build was to get these little handles on. And then we left the unit like that for the customer to start painting. They wanted to paint it themselves. And then at this stage the mirror was ready. So I put some bits of wood that I had at the yard around the back there as a rebate. And then we got this nice black tinted piece of mirror. And this was a very sort of careful lift. I probably could have put some paper down or something to protect the top, but I was pretty confident that I could get that in there. It wasn't too heavy this, so I just tilted the top in. Went in one side first as well. And when I needed to take a little adjustment here, I just kept all the weight pushed up to the top so that it never touched that glass worktop there. You can see there, I just rest it down. I think I had some blue pads on it there so that I could actually take a pit stop halfway. Just got it slid right into position and stuck onto that rebate. And for that I actually took the LED channels back out. They were only ever fitted temporarily. And after this mirror was in and cleaned up, we then started sticking the profiles back in to get them lights back in. You can see here about the hidden ends. The only good end was that to face the glass at the bottom there. But you can see the whole thing taking shape. It's amazing what you can do with some MDF and some glass. And here we're just sticking that Philips Hue back into the track now that it's all finally fitted. I like to be careful with my LEDs and make sure that it's right in the centre of the profile, because sometimes if you get some stuck at the front and some stuck at the back, it can look a bit dodgy. But just clipping the diffusers on here, having a bit of a clean up with all of the little pieces that come off the back of the Philips Hue strips. Don't know why they do that either, it's a bit annoying, but Philips, if you're listening, sort your strips out a bit. But this was it, sort of all finished. Obviously the customer had a bit more painting to do. It was me with my light ring, looking happy as normal. And there we go guys, I think he had a bit of trouble doing that wine rack and painting all in them little holes, but he was happy with the end product. If you want to see this a bit more detail, you can get over to my Instagram. We've got loads of lovely pictures and things on there. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode, guys. And next week we're doing a bit of a special build for my daughter, so tune in again then. Hopefully you enjoy that. I'll see you again next time.